Fishermen spend years at sea and swear they've seen it all. But these 10 creatures, none of them were prepared for what they pulled up.
The ocean covers more than 70% of the planet. And do you know how much of it we've explored? Less than 20%. That means that most of what lives down there, we don't even know exists. But sometimes, by accident, these things come up to the surface. And when that happens, fishermen, swimmers, divers, everyone is left speechless. Today we're going to see 10 creatures that were captured or found by ordinary people who simply couldn't believe what they were seeing. You can bet that some of them will leave you wondering.
Number 10. The giant lingcod. When someone talks about a big fish, most people think of a peacock bass or a snook. But in certain parts of the North Pacific, fishermen find something very different, something that looks more like a character from a horror game than a real animal. The lingcod is one of the most terrifying cold water fish that exists. It has a huge mouth, sharp teeth that seem to curve inward like claws, and an expression that makes anyone uncomfortable. One fisherman caught a specimen that measured over 1.5 meters long and weighed almost 36 kilos. To give you an idea, that's heavier than many 10-year-old children. What shocked people wasn't just the size, it was the behavior. When the fish came out of the water, it didn't stay still. It opened its mouth, showed those teeth, and the camera shook along with the fisherman. It's a top predator, the kind of creature that isn't afraid of almost anything at the bottom of the sea. After recording everything, the fisherman returned the animal to the ocean. A smart decision, because the lingcod is a species that needs protection. But the image stayed in the memory of everyone who saw it. This isn't the kind of thing you easily forget.
Number 9. The giant marine worm. Worms. Everyone thinks they know what a worm is, something small, thin, unremarkable. Now imagine finding one on the beach that seems to have no end. Development. A person was taking a calm walk on a beach when they saw something coming out from between the rocks. At first, it looked like a snake. Then it became clear it wasn't. It was a polychaete marine worm, the kind with a segmented body and full of bristles around it, which gives a very disturbing appearance to anyone who has never seen one up close. What drew attention was the size. This specimen was too big to ignore. Marine worms normally live buried at the bottom of the sea or under rocks, and most people never see one in their lifetime. But when they come out of their environment, as happened here, the look is hard to forget. Key moment. These animals are used as bait by fishermen all the time, but that specific specimen clearly wasn't part of anyone's plan. It was simply found there, showing that marine life can appear in the most unexpected places. Number 8. The striped cuttlefish. You are walking along the seashore, and the waves bring something in. It looks like an octopus, but it isn't. It looks like a squid, but it isn't that either. You look again and still don't know what's in front of you. That's exactly what happened to a person who found a cuttlefish on a beach. The creature had a striped body, tentacles still moving slightly, and an appearance that looked more like a visual render from another planet than from an ocean we know. The cuttlefish is one of the most fascinating animals in the sea. It can change color and texture in less than a second, which makes it almost invisible when it wants to camouflage. But that's not all. The cuttlefish has one of the most developed brains among invertebrates. It solves problems, uses tools, learns from experience. In many ways, it is more intelligent than several animals we consider smart. What few people know is that the cuttlefish has blue blood. That's not an exaggeration. It is literally blue because of the copper in the composition of its blood. When this creature appeared on the beach, no one knew exactly what they were seeing until specialists identified it. And even after that, many people still didn't want to believe it. Number 7. The black ornamental fish. Sometimes the mystery is not in the ocean. It is in a river right next to home. And what seems to be something common ends up being a very rare discovery. A resident was by the edge of a river when he noticed something in the water. They looked like black bubbles on the surface. He got closer. They weren't bubbles. It was a fish, but with a completely black, uniform coloration, without any pattern, different from anything he had seen before. The explanation, later, was a genetic mutation called melanism. It is when the organism produces melanin in excess, the pigment responsible for dark color, and the result is a completely black animal. This happens with jaguars, penguins, snakes, and less frequently with ornamental fish. What surprised people wasn't just the color, it was the rarity. Mutations like this happen, but they are very difficult to find in the wild. Most people go their entire lives without seeing anything like this. This resident simply looked down at the right moment.
Number 6. The fish that moved like a frog. Imagine this. You're skiing on a frozen lake and you see something under the ice moving in a completely strange way. On a frozen lake, a skier noticed something unusual beneath the layer of ice. A fish, but one that did not move like a fish. The movements were irregular, almost like a frog jumping, and it seemed to be making sounds that reached the surface. Fish don't usually do that. The scene raised more questions than answers. Some specialists suggested that the animal was in a state of hypothermia, with its movements affected by the extreme cold. Others suggested that it could be a poorly studied species with specific behaviors for low temperatures. What impressed those who saw it the most was the feeling of observing something that nature should not have shown, as if that moment was accidental. The ice making visible something that would normally remain hidden in the depths.
Number 5. The unexpected plecco. Some creatures we know from aquariums. It seems harmless, right? But finding one of these in completely different conditions changes the way you see the animal. A family went fishing on a regular afternoon and pulled up something that wasn't in the plans, a plecco. This fish is very famous in aquariums because of its suction cup-shaped mouth, which it uses to scrape algae off surfaces. But seeing it outside a controlled environment, in nature, caught on a fishing line, is a very different experience. The plecco uses its suction mouth to hold on to rocks at the bottom of rivers and uses its tough body structure to survive in strong currents. It's a well-adapted animal to the natural environment, but it has become so common in aquariums that people forget it belongs to a real ecosystem. What made this case special was the family's reaction. No one expected to catch that there, and the moment captured on camera showed how wildlife can still surprise even in everyday situations.
Number 4. The triggerfish. If you have never seen the teeth of a triggerfish, get ready, because once you see them, you don't forget. A video that drew a lot of attention showed a fish being pulled out of the water with an appearance that left everyone in shock. The teeth were red. It wasn't blood, it was their natural coloration. And they were large, strong, with a shape that seems made to destroy. The triggerfish uses these teeth to break shells, corals, and even sea urchins. It is capable of biting with a force disproportionate to its body size. Fishermen who tried to handle one of these without care ended up with marks to tell the story. The name trigger comes from a mechanism in its dorsal fins. When threatened, the fish locks the fin in a vertical position, making it almost impossible to remove it from a rock crevice where it hides. It is a surprisingly effective defense for an animal that looks so colorful and exotic. Looking at this fish and realizing that those red teeth are not unusual for the species, that it was born that way, that evolution arrived at this specific solution for its diet, this is the kind of thing that makes biology seem strangely creative.
Number 3. The forest creature. Not all mysterious creatures appear in the sea. Some appear where you least expect. A group of people walking in a forest area found something partially submerged on a riverbank. The appearance was unusual. The creature's body had a shape that no one could immediately classify. It looked like something between a marine animal and something completely different. Some immediately said it was an alien. Others stayed silent. The lack of immediate identification is what made the moment so striking. When we see something and can't place it into a known category, the brain goes into alert mode. It's a physical sensation. The mystery surrounding this creature was never completely resolved in a definitive way. Images were shared, different opinions were raised, and each person who saw it came to a different conclusion. Sometimes nature leaves questions open on purpose.
Number 2. The seal in the net. Not every scare at sea turns into tragedy. Sometimes what looks like a disaster ends up being one of the funniest moments in a fisherman's life. A group of fishermen were pulling in their nets after a day of work when they noticed the weight was off, too heavy for what they expected. When the net got close to the boat, they understood why. A giant seal had gotten into the net and was right in the middle of their catch, apparently satisfied with the situation. Seals are intelligent and opportunistic animals. They have learned over time that fishing nets are an easy source of food. What for the fisherman is a loss, for the seal is simply a system working. What turned this episode into something worth remembering was the seal's reaction when it realized it had been discovered. With no sign of fear, practically asking for permission to continue. The fishermen, after the scare, laughed so much they could barely film properly.
Number 1. The giant octopus in the net.
And at the top of this list, the creature that combines size, strength, intelligence, and a look that seems straight out of a movie. The giant octopus. Fishermen pulling nets in the open sea felt a different kind of resistance. Something was holding the net. When they saw what it was, they understood why. An impressively large octopus had become tangled in the mesh of the net and was using all its strength to free itself before it could be taken out of the sea. Large octopuses are incredibly strong. Each tentacle has hundreds of suction cups, and when an octopus decides it is not going anywhere, moving it somewhere usually becomes a task for more than one person. Beyond brute strength, the octopus is also a highly intelligent animal, capable of solving problems in real time. While the fishermen tried to control the situation, it tried to find ways out. What makes this encounter different from the others on the list is the feeling of dealing with something that is, in a way, thinking. The octopus did not react with panic. It reacted with strategy. And seeing this happen live at the edge of a fishing boat is the kind of experience that changes the way you think about ocean animals.
So that's it. 10 creatures that fishermen, swimmers, and ordinary people found without any planning at all. Each one of them exists in real life. Each one of them appears in real environments, not in fiction movies. And each one of them reminds us that the ocean, the rivers, the lakes still hold a lot that we haven't seen yet. With less than 20% of the ocean explored, the chances are high that the next discoveries will be even more surprising than everything you saw today. If you enjoyed it, watch the next video that is appearing on the screen now.
Take advantage and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos.